What's up, book besties? Welcome to another episode of She's All Books, where we dive into the raddest reads that will totally blow your mind. Grab your favorite drink, kick back, and let's chat all things books. Because life's too short for boring stories. Ready? Let's get this book party started. All right, welcome, book besties, to this episode of She's All Books. Here with me today is author Deanne Dietz. Deanne, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm so happy you're here.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. So before we get started, I love the nostalgic theme. You're wearing your AC/DC band shirt. I just told you off camera how I was looking everywhere for my Alanis Morissette concert tee. Can't find it anywhere. So thanks for joining me. Before we start some nostalgia fun, some games while we get to know you better, can you tell the viewers and listeners who might not know who you are yet a little bit about your writing?
Yeah, so actually, I'm embarking more on fantasy romance. Prior, I actually started off with children's books while I was working the COVID unit, and it just kind of brought some positivity, helped a lot with almost kind of like a little therapeutic positivity with children's books, and then wrote like a fighting burnout nursing book. And then afterwards, I just felt really compelled after working with my therapist to put some of my own stuff with some of my characters, but then they come out like resilient and awesome and kind of deal with their trauma. And so it's kind of been a therapeutic journey as well as kind of marring in a whole bunch of awesome stories of these characters, bringing them to life.
Absolutely. Imagine writing can be very therapeutic if done like in a way that allows for that. And definitely like as a reader, reading can be therapeutic also. Like you can really connect and feel like emboldened by characters. So that is so exciting to hear that. I had the pleasure to interview another author right before this, and you are both nurses. So I feel like I need to do like a special on like nurses who also write. So I'm very excited to have you
Yeah.
here. Imagine during COVID, like the 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 thick of COVID, having that outlet was probably very, very good for your mental health. I can't imagine being a healthcare worker during that. So thank you for all you've done and do and continue to do. That's
Well,
an
thank you.
awesome story. Yeah. All right. If you're not familiar and you're watching this episode for the first time, I love millennial nostalgia. So like 90s, early 2000s. And the way I like to guide questions when I am chatting with authors is by using a paper fortune teller. And some people call this a cootie catcher. What did you call this? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember.
I know. It's so long ago. So I call it a paper fortune teller. That's what I'll refer to it as. But if you're watching this or listening to this, let us know in the comments what you called this because I love to hear. And I've learned it's kind of regional. So also let me know like what state you grew up in because I'm doing research on this. Very informal. So what this is, if you're not familiar with it, is a paper origami toy. I don't know that we would play with in grade school. On the outside, it's hard to see, so I'll tell you the colors each time. But on the outside, you have pink, yellow, orange, or green. So 4 different colors. And then on the inside of the numbers 1 through 8. And these numbers, for the purposes of this interview, actually correspond with questions I have for you and questions that some of them are questions that the Bookstagram community dropped in the question box today on Instagram. So there's a mix in here. So that's how we're going to play. Are you up for it?
I am. This is gonna be so much fun.
Awesome. All right. So your color options are orange, yellow, pink, or green.
Let's do green.
All right. GREEN. And your number options are 1, 2.
Do 5.
Okay. Question number 5. All right. Do you prefer reading? This is an Instagram question. Do you prefer reading books, like physical copies of books, or like Kindle e-reader copies of books? Which was such an interesting question. I've never asked anyone this before.
So I actually love having a copy of a book. I have a toxic trait of, since I can't sit still, I usually do Audible for everything. Audible
Yes.
with cleaning, Audible with the
Yes.
car, anything Audible. And then I get my book trophy. And usually, though, if I do randomly find time to open up and crack open a book, I love the physical copy. Just because the pages flipping through the smell of a book, all of that, nostalgia
Yeah.
from the library back in the day.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Awesome. All right. I will tag that Instagram handle when I post this episode. Yellow,
Heck yeah.
orange, pink, or green?
Yellow.
Yellow. All right. YELLOW. And this time your number options are 3, 4, 7, or 8.
We'll do 7.
Question number 7. What inspires you to keep writing, even if you're having like a tough day or going through a tough time? What is your inspiration?
Music.
Ooh, awesome.
Yes.
I have another question that links to music. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself and ask it to you yet, but very nice. Music. So are you listening to music while you're writing?
It depends. So if I need to like get into the mood, I have a playlist actually for each book. And then sometimes for like that actual chapter, I've tied songs to the chapters. And then I was like, you know what? A lot of people are doing that nowadays, and I'll
Yes.
just, do that as well and just put a little thing on the top if people want to put the same song as I put to. I welcome like if people read the book, if they have a certain song that they tie it with, that would be badass to know.
Yes, awesome. I am one of those readers who I get so excited when I open a book and there's a playlist in it. I get I will go through and analyze the playlist before I start reading the book. I just get so excited. I love music. I'm like such a concert goer. I'm obsessed with, I think like even part of like my anxiety and like ADD. Like I'm always like listening to music in my mind, if that makes sense. Like I'm always like hearing
Mhm.
songs and stuff. So I get so excited when authors include that. So that's
Do
exciting.
you do the same thing where if something like it could be 3 words or the
Yes,
beginning of something and it ties to a song,
yes,
like it could be, you know, your husband or your friend is like, I want it that way, and then all of a sudden you start singing, I want it that way.
exactly. No, absolutely. I'm like that. Like I was in another interviewer and I was like, oh, I'm just faking it till I make it. And now the Taylor Swift like fake it till you make it song is in my head. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's gonna actually probably be in my head until like I go to sleep tonight because I get like those words like you just said like stuck in my that's so funny that you pointed that out. Do you do so?
Oh yeah. Or I'll make up songs like for example, the kids were having like a hard time with something and so I'm like, you can do it. You could do it if you put your mind to it. And they're like, you're crazy.
I love it. I love it. I love how music can tie itself to books and to writing and just in our daily lives. I I never understand those folks and no hate at all, but that can just like drive in silence. I can't. Like I always am a music. I like to listen to music. I'll listen to audiobooks if I'm not listening to music like while I'm working. Like I just like to have that audio.
Something.
Awesome. All right, green, pink, yellow, or orange. Pink. All right, PINK. 3, 4, 7, and 8 again, but you already did.
We'll do 4.
All right, question number 4. Oh, perfect. This is the question I had for you about music. So, I just dropped my paper for. If Hearts Held by Barbed Wire had a soundtrack, which maybe it does, because it's sponsored. What are some songs that would
We
maybe you
actually
can't tell us?
had,
Maybe it's
well, I'll put the bands on there because it's got an array of different things from 90s to now.
Ooh.
We have some Five Finger Death Punch and pop or not Popular Monster, excuse me. I just broke that one. Falling in Reverse to like Santana and just a little bit of like some country songs like Lainey Wilson and Tyler Braden, Cody Johnson. So it kind of is a hodgepodge, which I feel kind of bad about. I was asking my husband last night during editing. I'm like, is it messed up I have this song in there? Because, like, it's from the 20s and 30s. Obviously, I hate to break it, but, like, The jazz music back then just doesn't hold the same emotional factor as some of the music we have now, and
Yes.
especially in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
So it's got an array, and I hope that readers can dig it. If not, I'll be like, shit.
I think that's awesome. I think that like if it were me and I'm looking at the soundtrack, I would be like, oh, this is fascinating. Like I have got to figure out how these songs came together, and it just would make it even more exciting. Now I can't wait. I cannot wait to get my hands just based off of those songs you listed or artists. Awesome, very nice. So we both have a love of music. I there's no favorite genre for me. Like
Same.
any genre. So that makes me excited that it has such a mix to it. All right. Yellow, pink, orange, or
Orange.
orange. Orange. Why is it my camera doing that? Okay. 1, 2, 5, or 6, but you already answered question number 5. So 1, 2, or
2.
question number 2. All right. What are some of your favorite tropes to read, and what are some of your favorite tropes to write?
Oh, touch her and die. Touch her and die.
Possessive MMC, 100%. Yeah.
Yes. The one bed trope is always fun, or the one tent trope.
Yes.
That is actually in the second book, so I'm
Okay.
excited for that. Gosh, what else? Mafia. I think that's a trope. Oh, I'm trying to think of the list.
Mafia is definitely a trope. That was like one of my first tropes that I like went down the rabbit hole with, and I was like reading every Mafia book I could get my hand because it was so.
And it's fun to like go and dive into those books and just kind of live that
Yes.
fantasy life and check out of like the normalcy that we have.
Next thing I knew, I was just like
Wow.
craving all the Italian food, and I was like, I just need it all. I was like so immersed.
Yes. Oh my God, you're after my heart.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, it's so true though. Oh, what else? Definitely enemies to lovers. That one is super fun to write about. Or where it's like a strong female leader, she finds her strength and evolves. I like to see that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have our grumpy cinnamon roll. Oh my gosh, where he doesn't like anybody but her and he's nice
I
for
love
her.
it. Yes, I love it. And like when they just are a sucker for the FMC, and no, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And like gotten the chance to interview many authors who write fantasy, and it's so funny because like I got most of my original following on Bookstagram from fantasy books. Like I was really into. I can't even list them all, but like I eventually did a group read with Fourth Wing and the second one in that series, and so I was so excited when you signed up. I wanted to dive in and let some of those viewers and readers like get to hear about your books and the fantasy romance books that are out there. A little digress from the questions, but can you tell readers a little bit about the fantasy world that like this book?
So for this one here, it's got a little bit of realism because it's after World War One,
Yeah.
but with the mafia aspect of they're called the Afton Adders, and they utilize the snake, the adder, in a lot of their dealings, a lot of their vengeance and everything like that. And of course, for some reason, where the fantasy comes in is the characters, they're not affected by the snakes. The snakes don't bite them. That's where the lore is. They have this ridiculous, adorable, like Nordic grandma named Baba, and she like does her hoodoo voodoo whatever with her like voodoo dolls and her charms that have, curses or also
Oh,
spells to help protect them. So that's a little bit where the fantasy is. It's not too big like my other book called Fragments of Asgard that comes out later, which by the way, I'm a dork and I'm sending you both books because that's how I like
that's
to
great.
say thank you to people for
Yeah,
like
I'm
just
so excited.
taking
And
the
my
moment.
book club is going to be like all over these. I mean, they're going to go get these books. I can pretty guarantee it because like everything you're saying with like there's a little bit of like historical romance piece to it with like the mafia and with some of the fantasy components like that's just so up their alley. So I cannot wait to share this.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. And I also like just through talking with you in this short, I have somebody else I want to make sure I connect with you in the DMs and connect you to her because she also does book chats. Hers are on IG, and mainly with writers who are fantasy writers and stuff. So I'll connect you. She's in my book club and she's amazing.
Awesome.
Definitely
Heck
I
yeah.
have to connect you in the DMs with her because she's fabulous and she's going to be all over these. That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And for those of you who are watching and or listening to this episode, maybe you've never read a fantasy book because you didn't know where to start, or a book with some fantasy component. This is it. You can start here. Here you go. This is the perfect place to start, is with Deanne and her books. Very nice. And was there anything else? I just went on a total tangent.
No, you're good. You're good.
Awesome. Well, awesome tropes. All right. Pink, orange, yellow,
Do pink again.
pink again. All right. PIN. 3, 4, 7, or 8. You've already done 7. So 3, and you've done 4. This is why I have to write these down. 3.
We'll do 3.
3. All right. Question number. This was another Instagram submitted question, and I giggled to myself when I read it because it's such a good one. And also, though, I feel like it might be a hard one to answer. So if you don't have an answer, we'll skip it and go. Do you have any? And this writer wrote quirky writing rituals or superstitions? That was such an interesting question.
I
So do
love
you
that.
have anything like that?
Yes, I do have a ritual.
Okay. Awesome.
I have a specific coffee mug that I like to drink my little coffee from while I'm writing or while I'm editing. And then I always have to have my black cup of coffee because it's as black as my dark soul. Um, a hoodie that I like to wear because it's like super soft and just like kind of gets you in that cozy writing mood. And
Yes.
then I love, for some reason, the mahogany teak. I think it's mahogany teak wood smell. And so I'll put the candle on from Body Work.
Nice. I love that. They have the soap in that scent too, and I love it. Yes.
Yes. I'm like, oh my gosh, my poor husband, because I'm just like, that's all you can wear. That's
Yeah.
it. Just,
Once you
and then I
find
have
a man
my
you love, it's
Yeah, game over, especially for him. And then the specific spot that I sit on the couch that I don't know why, that I feel like I won't get any other like creativeness from the other seats. And then to touch upon that mahogany teak wood smell, so I put the lotion on, and it was so funny because my bonus kiddo, he was 5 at the time. It was earlier this year, and he kept sniffing my arms, and he's like, "You smell so good." And I'm like, "Thanks, it's awesome." And then he kept doing it the rest of the time we were at this museum. And I was like, "Bubba, they're gonna think we're really, really weird." And he's like, "Well, you say you're weird all the time." And I'm like, "That's true. Can't sniff me in public."
like that's awesome.
Because I always
Everyone
say
in
that. I'm
the
like,
family
"You're
loves.
almost boring."
Oh, that is awesome. I love. That's like the same age as my son, and it's a fun age. It's a neat age, and that's
Oh my
adorable.
gosh, yes.
So fun. Well, now whenever I smell mahogany teakwood, I'll be awesome. Yeah. All right. Pink, orange, green,
Green.
green. All right. GREEN. 1, 2, 5, or 6. So really 6.
Okay, we'll do.
All right. Question number 1. What is the biggest challenge you've faced during your writing?
Imposter syndrome. Holy crap.
Yes.
Oh, it is so
It can
bad.
get the
Even
best of you.
now. Yeah. And like with the dates coming by so soon, like you just constantly are your own worst enemy in that self-doubt. And you're like, you know what? You're just a nurse. You shouldn't be writing. What if someone hates
Right?
it? Like all these horrible thoughts that come into your mind. But that is definitely the biggest challenge that I think hits all writers, or even just us in general. Like when you want to get started on something, you think of everyone that's going to be kind of like a douche to you.
Right. You automatically start thinking about those negative potential comments that you could receive. And it's like such a bummer because we should be focusing on all the positive and like all the things that are, bringing us joy while we're doing this. So I can totally relate to that. And I think that that's something I hear from a lot of authors is that imposter syndrome can really play. Well, I like to create a positive space. So no, your comments. But you are amazing, an amazing writer. So, and it's so impressive that you're able to do that outside of, as a hobby. Like you get to write and write these awesome books and do it in your free time. That's awesome. Very nice.
Thank you.
All right. Pink, yellow, orange.
Green. We just did green. Sorry, yellow.
Okay, any color you like. All right. YELLOW. And your last one in this cluster of numbers is 6. See, this is like my own like weird adaptation of Paper Fortune Teller. Would you like to
I
answer
love it. Yes.
All right. Question number 6. What do you hope that readers feel when they...
I hope that they can feel a connection, especially with the female main character, and then kind of be able to develop the feeling that they're in that character, familiarize, or not familiarize, but just kind of relate, and then feel a sense of they're growing alongside the character and give them that kind of space, and then as well as just laughter. I love when I think of like a funny scene and I'm like, oh, maybe it's not that funny. And then I test it out on like a friend or my husband and then they laugh. And that brings me so much joy because it's like, yes, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make you feel something. So, like, evoke that emotion and share with the characters, if they've had potentially a similar situation, which I hope not. But unfortunately, sometimes we have tough lives or we can relate in certain aspects to certain scenarios. So I'd love for them to identify with them.
That's all of that. And I think that that's the beauty of reading and something that I love as a reader is like I can read a book that maybe like doesn't I can't relate specifically to the experience, but there's always something in a book that I can connect with. Like reading Fourth Wing, never in a million years. So I think I'd ever be able to relate to anything in Fourth Wing. I was able to relate to something in it, and that to find those connections in books and to find those connections with authors. So I love that. And I'm sure readers are finding a lot of connections with your books. For fun, will you entertain me for your last question? We only have one number left. And can we, just for shits and giggles, do another?
Heck yeah.
Okay. Green, yellow, orange. All right. ORANG. And your last number is number 8. Would you like?
Yes, madam.
All right. So we have Hearts Held by Barbed Wire about releasing September 1st. So viewers and listeners can get. What can readers expect?
After Hearts Held by Barbed Wire is going to be Fragments of Asgard, and that one is a modern day Viking lore. It's very funny, but also very heart-wrenching in regards to the first chapter is actually my last night with my ex-husband, but I wrote it into there to be therapeutic. Yeah. And then they're both, I got super lucky to work with Blue Nose Audio, and they're going to be doing an Audible for it. Yeah. And then after that, I'm going to continue the series for Hearts Held by Barbed Wire with 2 other characters. So it's going to be really cool to tie in all the characters that I love from Hearts Held by Barbed Wire and give the other characters their own books as well and show off their awesome personalities and all the other tropes that I love and put them into there that I couldn't put into, because you can't put it all into one. It would be too much, like an explosion of tropes.
That is awesome. I love when other characters in books get their own spotlight in their own book, like spin-off or, the interconnected series and stuff. That is always something I get excited about because I'm never ready to say goodbye. So that is very exciting. Thank you for sharing that. Anything else that you want readers to know about Hearts Held by Barbed Wire that we didn't?
Not that I can think of. I'm just excited for it to come out, and I hope you enjoy it. And
Well,
I can't thank you enough for giving me your time for doing this. This is
of course.
fantastic and awesome meeting a,
Yeah.
concert loving sister.
Yeah. Well, now we're at the second part of this interview where I'm going to give you options of nostalgia games, and you get to pick what to play. And they're all going to have like a bookish twist, a loose to them. Your options are MASH, Never Have I Ever, Two Truths and a Lie.
Never have I ever.
Okay, awesome. All right, so this one's really fun because it can go back and forth for a while we're getting to know each other, which is so fun for listeners, and I get a lot of from them that they love to listen to this. So since some people are watching, I will do my best to narrow talk when somebody puts a finger down. So for Never Have I Ever, the way it was like classically played, or at least like at the college parties I was at, was you would hold your fingers up. Oftentimes there was beverages involved, and then you would go around and you would say something you've never done, and then you're hoping that somebody has done. If they did, finger down. The last person with fingering wins. And for the purposes of the episode, and these can go on for a while, we'll do 3 fingers instead of 5 because a lot of authors have told me this is challenging. So
I think so.
okay.
I think so.
And I say we'll keep it bookish, but like it can be anything, like books you've read. All right. So do you want to go first? Or
If you don't mind going first, because my brain's like trying to remember.
yeah. Okay, so I'll go first. Never have I ever read.
Oh, so if I say no, I haven't, then it has to be like the 3 fingers up.
Yes. Yeah. So if you also have not done it, you keep all your fingers up. If you have read Alien Romance.
Okay. Nope.
Okay. So we still all have our fingers up. So clearly we need alien romance recommendations.
Never have. Oh gosh. Do you do fan fiction at all? Any Harry Potter fan fiction?
I have not. I do read fan fiction, but I've not read Harry.
Okay, well then that no, because then that then it would definitely be never have I ever.
Well, then if you said you could have gotten me down with one, you could have used it, and I would have had to put a finger down.
I'm already bad at this game.
You're being too nice to me.
Oh God.
Taking it too easy on me.
Never have I ever read like a dragon romance book. Like I'm thinking like Katie Roberts.
Where like the dragons are actually like romance. Okay, no, I have not either. No.
Okay.
There are dragons in fourth.
Yes.
All right. Okay, this is an honest one. Never, I mean, I'm always honest, but this is one that might be surprising to this. Never have I ever read negative, and if you have to put a finger down. Okay.
That's
So
awesome.
I don't. I always go for the 5 stars, like especially when I'm picking out a book to read. I just want to know what readers loved about the book. I don't care about what readers don't love about a book. Like I just want to read the great reviews and decide like if that's something that like I would also think is great, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I've never have ever read.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. I
And
also
it
have
also
never
kind of
written
like
a negative
helps
review.
spread.
I've never written one or read one. So you're down. So now she has technically now you have 2 because we're only doing hers. So now you
Oh,
have
bless. Failing at this game. This is how outdated I am. I haven't played it in so long.
Yeah. All right. Your turn.
All right. Okay. Never have I ever deniffed a book.
I have to put a finger down. I have it's not frequent. I'm really good at picking but I'm such a mood reader that sometimes I'll start a book and I'm just like not in the it doesn't mean anything about the book. I'm just like not in the particular that book. And that's not to say I won't like read it again once I hit that mood. So I always keep them just waiting till like that mood strikes me, but I am guilty of that. So I have a finger down now, and do you have a food? All right. Never episode before episode. I touched on this a little bit. So if people are watching, listening to both, you'll know why I'm saying this. Never have I ever returned a lifetime. A perpetual late.
Oh my gosh, that's adorable.
Have you ever returned?
I have, yes.
You
So I
need to
put a
put
finger down. Okay.
You-
Yeah. I have so much anxiety for it. Like my bonus daughter, we were going to the library like 2, 3 times a week here on base, and like I had little alarms for her books and stuff for like the day before to
Right.
make sure that
Right.
we rechecked it out if she wasn't done yet because I was
I
so
love that.
paranoid.
I am trying to teach my kids you return them on time, and usually like a day or so late. Like it's never like crazy late. But then I just kind of like fib to them and I'm like, oh, today's the due date because I don't want them to like think that returning them late is okay. And so I know it's late. The librarian knows it's late. My kids think they're little. So
That's
well,
awesome.
I don't have much longer of that. I need to start returning them on time. I'm going to use the reminder idea like you just said. All right. So I have 2 fingers.
Bum, bum, bum. So
I have. Yeah. I don't love it. But if I'm desperate and I don't have anything to save my spot, I will do it. But I don't love it. And I try to straighten them out after the bowl. So now we both only have 1 finger up. Let's see if I can knock your finger down. A character based off.
So
How many?
well, probably about 8 or 9.
Wow. So you are
Yeah.
inspired by people you know.
Yeah, not this book. Not this book,
Right.
because this book, then people will be like, which one was it? No, but for Fragments of Asgard, there's actually one character where like I just had so many people, and it's kind of my homage to them to be like, I love you so much. You helped me with so much crap in my life, and like we're so supportive that like you're such a beautiful soul. I want to put you in my book as like a thank you. There's one character that I just meshed up like my 4 most amazing friends that just have always helped me out through the shitstorm of life, and I just smushed them into this one awesome like Valkyrie. And then also there is this family where, sorry to like sidebar it a little bit, but I wrote their story into the book because their son died from cancer in his teens. And I really cared about them. And I still care about them, still talk to them. They're awesome. And I wrote him in the book for Fragments of Asgard. And I wrote the parents in the book. So then before he passes away from cancer, Odin comes and asks him to join him in Valhalla because he is fighting cancer like a warrior. And he
Right.
says, I'll go if my parents can join me in the afterlife. And so I wrote them to be in the book together forever. And then that way he's kind of like grown up, he's mature, he's like this awesome assassin and stuff, and like these little cute snippets and stuff. And I would ask them small questions about like, what would you guys do together? And there's one where Joe's like, oh yeah, we used to like do Star Wars fights. So then I put like a sword fight with them in the book. So all these little things. So Fragments is kind of like also an ode to the people that I care about. So that's why there's characters that are written like people that I get inspired from and love and adore.
I love that. That is so special. And what an amazing like way to pay tribute to people who mean something in your life. So that is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That now when I read that, I will just be thinking about all the awesome people who've motivated you or not motivated you, who you.
Thank
That is
you.
exciting. Awesome. Well, if you're listening and not watching, I did win. It might have been a little of a win, but I won. I don't usually win these. So thank you so much for entertaining me with I had such a blast getting to know you, learning more about these books. I cannot wait to connect reader books and for them to get their hands on your awesome work. And I will make sure I link all your social media, how to find your in the captions. But can you tell those who are listening or watching, like where they can?
Yeah, actually on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. Those are the two avenues, and I have all the links also on my, socials and stuff. So everything's kind of a nice clear shot.
Awesome. And for all of those audiobook lovers, soon they'll be able to listen to one of your books as well. That's
Yes,
very
on
exciting.
Audible.
Yes, well, I hope you'll come back on this show with me in the future and we can chat more about books that you have coming. So fun. I will have to beg you to come back on so we can do some music. Maybe I can incorporate more music trivia.
And you do not have to beg me, you betcha.
Awesome. Well, so much. And if you're watching, make sure you check Deanne and Deanne's books and connect with her on social media so that you can find your next reads. Until next time, thanks for.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, book besties, that's a wrap on this totally rad episode of She's All Books. If you're digging this vibe, don't be a square. Smash that subscribe button faster than you can say as if. Want to keep the convo going? Hit me up on social media at She's All Books. Drop a comment, share your fave book, or tell me what you want to hear next. I'm all ears. And hey, if you thought this episode was all that, spread the word. Tell your besties, your mom, even that cute barista at the local coffee shop. The more, the merrier. Stay tuned for the next episode, dropping Mondays at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be a blast. Until then, keep it real and keep on reading. See ya!